Hi YouTube, I'm here to make my predictions for UFC 94, Penn versus St. Pierre, number 2. I'll make this quick. I'm just going to do the main card fights, and if I have time I'll do the undercard fights. So first fight of the pay-per-view is Nate Diaz versus Clay Guida, and it's an exciting lightweight fight. Both guys are on a tear lately, winning most of their last fights. Nate Diaz undefeated in the UFC since he came off the Ultimate Fighter show. Clay Guida has had an up and down career, losing a lot of important fights, but recently dominated Mac Danzig for 3 rounds. So this fight should be exciting. I'm predicting it goes 3 rounds. I don't think Nate Diaz can handle the pace that Clay Guida is going to set the fight. I don't think he's going to be able to submit Clay Guida. Clay Guida was an awesome wrestler in college. Nate Diaz doesn't have a wrestling background. So I think it's going to go 3 rounds with Clay Guida on the winning end. So my prediction is Clay Guida by unanimous decision. Next fight is... Wait, can I click back and forth?
Yeah, you can edit it after.
Alright. Next fight is Parisian coming back from his loss to Thiago Alves, taking on Dong Hyung Kim from Korea. This should be an exciting fight. Dong Hyung Kim is 2-0 in the UFC. His last fight I thought he lost to Matt Brown, but it was a close fight. Parisian needs to come back and make this a decisive win. Otherwise, chances are his future in the UFC is going to be limited. They're both judo black belts. Kim goes to school for judo. Parisian's a black belt in judo. I do think this fight will go all 3 rounds. I don't think Parisian's going to be able to finish Kim, but I think he'll be able to control him for the majority of the fight using his technique and his wild striking that we always see. So my prediction for that fight is going to be Parisian by unanimous or majority decision. Next fight, Stephan Bonner versus John Jones. Stephan Bonner hasn't fought since UFC 77, so he's a little bit rusty. John Jones fought Andre Gusmao on his UFC debut and dominated the fight. John Jones was a very good wrestler, JUCO national champion. Stephan Bonner, we all know him, awesome striking, awesome ground game. I think this fight's going to be all based on Stephan Bonner, I think he can stop I think he can stop John Jones wrestling. I think he can outstrike him. I think Stephan Bonner can and will finish this fight in the 2nd round by a TKO stoppage. So, yeah, in order for John Jones to win this fight, he needs to constantly be attempting to take Stephan Bonner down. Whenever he can, find a way to shoot, get in. He's not going to win this fight on the feet, and he's not going to win a jiu-jitsu match, so he's going to have to out-wrestle him. So, yeah. Prediction for that, Stephan Bonner, TKO in the 2nd round. Okay, next fight, one of my favorite fighters, Lyoto Machida, taking on Thiago Silva, both undefeated, both on tears. I don't think Thiago's been tested yet. I think all of his fights have been too easy for him. I think this is his first fight where he's actually being tested. Lyoto Machida, undefeated, coming off that dominating victory over Tito Ortiz. Tito didn't have a chance in that fight. Sokaju didn't have a chance when he fought Machida. I think Machida has actually taken a step up in competition by fighting Thiago Silva. Thiago Silva is a great striker, great Muay Thai, and a Jiu-Jitsu black belt as well. I think that Machida can outscore Silva all day, Thiago Silva. But if they do get into a brawl, Thiago Silva's got the advantage. Thiago Silva, I don't think, can take Lyoto Machida down. I think this fight will remain on the feet. And I think this fight will consist of Thiago just getting worked the whole fight. I think Machida's just going to outscore him the whole time. So my prediction for that fight is Lyoto Machida by unanimous decision. yeah, then he should be ready for his title shot after that. So. Okay, the final fight of the evening. BJ Penn versus George St. Pierre, number 2. This is a huge rematch. It's for the World Welterweight Championship of the world. BJ Penn and George St. Pierre fought once before, and it was a very close fight. BJ Penn dominated the first round using his boxing. George St. Pierre won the next 2 rounds, in my opinion, using his wrestling. BJ Penn has improved his cardio since then a lot. He's improved his conditioning. So is St. Pierre, though. St. Pierre got caught against Sarah and has totally refocused and rededicated everything to the sport. BJ Penn has done the same. He had a period of time in his career when he was, he lost 2 fights in a row to George St. Pierre and Matt Hughes. Simply because of his conditioning. He wasn't in the conditioning he was supposed to be. He's so naturally talented that it gets in the way of his training. So breaking down this fight, standing on the feet, I think that BJ Penn has the better hands. I think he's the better boxer, crisper boxing. A lot of people, including Freddie Roach, who's former boxing coach, think that BJ Penn's the best boxer in MMA. His destruction of Shirk was, perfect. I mean, he was unscathed after the fight. So, and then George St. Pierre has improved his wrestling. Didn't have a wrestling background in high school nor in college, and still is able to take down people like Josh Koscheck, John Fitch, Matt Serra, and defeat them, dominate them. On the feet, I believe BJ Penn's got the advantage with his hands. He's the better boxer. George St. Pierre is the better kicker. He had a karate background, so I think he can kick better than BJ. BJ does have kicks. George St. Pierre does have hands. I just think they kind of out advantage each other in each of them. BJ's got the advantage with his hands. George's got the advantage with his kicks. Wrestling. He was able to take down BJ Penn in their first fight, and able to take down John Fitch and all those guys. He's a good scrambler. He can scramble. I think BJ Penn's got the better jiu-jitsu on the ground. I think if this fight goes to the ground and BJ's on his back, he could do some work and end up submitting George St. Pierre. If George is on top, he's going to be pounding. He's going to be grounded and pounding. So I think this fight all comes down to who's in better condition. BJ Penn's going to be in excellent condition. George St. Pierre's going to be in excellent condition. This fight's going to be a war. If I had to make a prediction, I would say this fight is going to be on the feet for the majority of the early rounds. That being said, I think that BJ Penn could knock George St. Pierre out. Just from watching what happened in the Sarah fight, I mean, it's been done. It can happen again, just as easy. BJ Penn's a much more dangerous striker than Matt Serra. Much more crisper, much more cleaner with his strikes. I don't see George knocking BJ out. BJ's chin is unbelievable. His head movement's unbelievable. I think that this fight, I mean, there's really no way to predict it. I mean, BJ can knock George out. George could dominate BJ for 5 rounds, just improve, taking him down at will. Even though BJ's got such good takedown defense, I think eventually George will be able to take him down. My prediction for this fight, I think it could go all 5 rounds. The winner, I would have to say BJ Penn, just because of his intensity and his improved cardio. I think that he can hang George St. Pierre when it comes to conditioning. I think he could definitely finish this fight, but I'm not making any predictions on how he's going to finish the fight, but I think that BJ Penn will win this fight.